watching Rogers TV.
Hi there, and welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Teena Avery. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not a singer, but I want to sing Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Why? Because the slopes are calling. Joining me today is a familiar face. You may have seen him on here before. We have Terence from Hockley Valley Resort. He's the Director of Alpine and Recreation.
Correct, yeah. We do all the fun stuff on top of the snow.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me. This is great to be here again.
And you know, what is great is there's some new technology and some new things that have come out since the last time that you were here. And that's what we want to start talking about. And then, you know, and then we'll get into the little tips and tricks and suggestions and all that sort of thing when we're talking about skiing and snowboarding. Yeah. But where do we want to start?
For sure. I think one thing that when you go out, we're all visual people. I think the one thing you'll see a lot this year is a lot of the color blue.
Okay.
Whether it's in the form of skis, whether it's in the form of helmets.
Okay.
Like this.
Wonderful.
And that's an interesting helmet because it's actually a slalom race helmet, which they've deviated from their traditional kind of red and black colors and muted, so they come out. It's in that color, it comes in purple, violet, like they've really kind of gone with more of a color splash.
Okay.
Along the line of blue, there's also these goggles from Zeal, and if you look at the band, it's been done by an Indigenous artist as well. So lots of blue on the slopes. I think it's one of people's most preferred colors. I think if you do a survey, I think 40% of people will pick blue as their favorite color.
And you said this was done by an Indigenous artist?
Yes, correct.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's part of a collection. Zeal did the goggles. There's another partner that did a helmet, another that did a skateboard. So.
Absolutely, and these are, I mean, I've seen these, my son used to snowboard many moons ago. I'm not going to age myself and say how long ago, but these are very cool.
Yeah, for sure. And those ones are interesting because they have this, what they call observation deck technology. That's a mouthful.
Okay.
And it's where the whole lens is actually tilted down a bit, so you can actually see your feet a lot better and everything that you're going down, just because that's kind of the orientation you have as you go down the hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. Yeah. Definitely come a long way since I guess the ones that my my son had, but because I don't know, they just look so futuristic to me. Like it's, but I love the color blue. Yeah. And I think like just when you're talking about all these different colors, how on the white snow, obviously they just pop, right? Yeah. And I think that's amazing because I love watching. I don't ski. We've clarified this already. I don't ski or snowboard. I don't have the knees that can do that anymore. But it's just like I used to watch the kids come down, and you'd see these kids, you know, every once in a while, a really big pop of color versus the red and the black and that sort of thing.
For sure. For sure. And when you go skiing, obviously within the elements, sometimes it can be dark, it can be cloudy. But when it's really bright out, you do want a lens that works well like that. And another option is from Smith. Okay. And they have something called Chroma Pop in it. So a lot of lenses just tend to darken the light, so it just reduces the amount of light that comes in. Okay. But with the Chroma Pop technology, it makes the reds redder, the greens greener, and the blues bluer. So you can see your blue skis and everything better. So it just kind of makes it more vibrant. And it not only comes in a goggle, but it also comes in a sunglass. Oh, okay. So it's the same technology that goes with that as well that you can get. Okay. Yeah. So these are just regular sunglasses for, those ones are for cycling specific, but Smith has a whole lineup from like lifestyle, casual, and it can be sports specific, whether it's cycling or skiing and things like that. So. Yeah, you know, and I really with cycling, which I know we're not in the season, we've got snow everywhere, but you can still bike in the snow, can you not, for sure. So, yeah, I would say in the last 5 years, a lot of people have gone to these fat tire bikes. So the traditional bike tires, let's say between 1.5 to 2.5 inches, and the fat tire bike can actually go up to 5 inches. So that's a lot of air as you're traveling on the ground. Okay. And there are a lot of different trail systems that are starting to be groomed for the fat tire biking. So you just need some flat, compacted snow. Okay. So at the Hockley Valley Resort, we actually have a groomer that will do the fat tire track, the traditional cross-country track. You can do snowshoeing on it as well, and then the fat tire biking. So there's so many things you can do. Maybe I should try snowshoeing. Yes. I feel like that might work for me. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure about, I mean, they say like if you learn to ride a bike, you never forget. I'm not quite sure I'm ready for biking on the snow.
Right.
But I can see where you would need sunglasses for something like that, because if it is a sunny day, the reflection of the sun onto the white snow will be blinding.
Absolutely. You want to have that visual acuity. It's kind of a $20 word here, but just so that you can see where you're going, especially when you're going down the slopes, not only for yourself, but just the people around you, and if there's any obstacles that you need to avoid.
Yes, like Teena lying down because she fell down. Yes. Don't run into me. No, I'm only joking. But snowshoeing, we're just leaping from there, and we're going to go back to some of the technologies. The snowshoeing is something that somebody with bad knees or bad ankles is
very easy, especially if it's on a groomed track. So just think about your feet being about twice the size, so you don't fall right through the snow. But it's just hiking in the snow. I think a lot of the winter activities that you do, like even the biking that we were talking about, it's a different pace. It's a little bit slower, which I find is amazing. Obviously, the temperature is a bit colder, so you're working probably as hard, if not harder, but everything just kind of slows down.
It just seems so mellow. Like back in the day when I was younger, I used to cross country ski, and that's what my parents did. They weren't downhill skiers or anything like that. So we used to go as a family with my sister, and we would cross country ski, which was a lot of fun. So I'm thinking, I'm really excited about that, actually. I think I'm going to try it this year.
And it's a totally different point of view, like when you're in the summer and it's full bloom, lots of leaves and bushes and all that, but in the winter everything kind of dies off and fall. Obviously the leaves fall down, so you have this much longer sight. So even if you're in the same woods, it feels very different for sure.
And just peaceful. That's my goal. Peaceful exercise. Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. So I'm going to ask one more question about snowshoeing. So, I mean, obviously you don't need experience. Is there anything you need other than the snowshoes?
No, I think just come dressed for the weather and be prepared to take a few layers off, because you will be working out as you're walking around.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to give that a try, and I'll let you know how it goes. And if it goes badly, I won't let you know. No, joking. Okay, so let's go on talking about some of the new things that have come out for the season. Is there where? Yeah,
we talked a little bit about kind of the comfort and convenience aspect as well that could be added. So one of our partners at the resort is Eau Claire. So they have this new lineup of their battery-powered heated gloves that you can use pretty much anywhere. It's all in one, so you take it home, you charge it, you press a button, it comes on. There's different settings. So there's that as an option. Or if you wanted to do something a little bit, if you like, let's say you like the gloves that you have, they actually have a liner that's also heated, so it's much smaller, and that can fit into a glove or a mitt that you already have.
Okay. Oh, that's very cool.
So the same idea, right? But it's much more sleeker, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So they're battery operated.
Yeah, for sure. So again, you're looking at kind of some of the aesthetics with the blue, some of the performance aspects like we talked about with the goggles, and then this is kind of performance and comfort all in one, right, in terms of convenience.
Okay, that is very cool. I'm thinking I need these for when I'm shoveling the driveway.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. That's another thing.
They do have those. I've seen those in different places. A heated glove mitt ice scraper.
Yeah. I'm not quite that bad. I'm okay. And usually, not similar to snowshoeing, but you don't always dress as warm when you're shoveling the driveway, because you're working up the sweat and doing this.
Right. I think some of the stuff as you're preparing for the season too, like a lot of people are starting to prefer just to have different layers. So that's where I think the liner's good, because you can just take it off if it gets warm in the afternoon. As you know, the days can change from blizzardy, snow squall in the morning, and a bright bluebird day later in the afternoon.
Absolutely. All right, so are we going to talk about this lovely boot that I see sitting here?
Yeah, maybe just before we go on to that, so just with Eau Claire, the other thing for comfort and convenience is that they have this brand called Pow Girl. And so it was designed by a woman, made for women, so it's all specific to the anatomy of a woman. Whether they have a smaller palm in the glove or a smaller wrist, because a lot of the gloves, when they call them unisex, they're really men's gloves that they've made smaller, so it's the right dimension. So Pow Girl is another way to kind of get something that is more custom fitted or personalized for you.
Well, that's very cool. I think that's amazing, because really and truly, we're not the same.
Yeah, exactly. We've got 7 billion people on the planet. Not all of them ski, but definitely different proportions. And then maybe one of the last things is that you'll see a lot this year is a lot of ski boots have buckles all along them.
Okay.
So this has a BOA cable.
Okay.
It doesn't have the traditional BOA dial because this is a backcountry boot, but you'll see that on a lot of the different brands. There's 4 brands that have come out with that this year.
Okay.
So instead of the buckle just pressing right down on top of your foot, the BOA cable creates more of a wrap around your foot.
Okay.
So it really kind of takes the entire shell and fits it, and it doesn't distort the shell.
Okay. So, and that's, is that new this year?
Yeah, that's brand new this year. Yeah, it hasn't been in the market. It's been tested the last couple of years, but this is the first year you'll find it in market.
Okay. And have you tried it out yet?
Yeah, in the last spring. I think of myself as one of the new age people that thinks great, but when it came out, I was like, okay, this looks weird. Is it gonna? But it definitely fits much better in terms of the wrap of your foot.
Okay.
And less pressure points.
Okay.
For sure.
So, how often do you ski? Do you have time to ski with everything that you're doing at the resort?
Yeah, definitely try to get out every day. So it's a lot of days for sure. Like when we're open, we'll be open around 100 days in the year. I'll probably ski like 90 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you get to take advantage of that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And how
Absolutely.
long have you been skiing?
I've been skiing. I got my level 1 when I was 16, so that's like over 30 years ago. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't look old enough for
No.
30 years to have gone by.
I do get that a lot, but yes, I'm definitely up there in terms of skiing age and experience. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Which is why you come on the show to give us all of these great tips and tell us about all these
sure.
other trends. We've got about a minute or so left, but is there anything else we want to talk about that's new this season?
No, I think that's in terms of trends, in terms of color and aesthetics, fit and function. I think they've done a really good job. Skiing's great because every season is a new start, and there's like this hard cutoff end, and then people work away in the summer, and then you start in the fall. And I think it's a great way to kind of invigorate the passion for the sport every year.
Absolutely. Now, just out of curiosity, is it better skiing when it's not quite as sunny? Like, is it better when it's kind of clouded over? Like visually, just the experience?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the gear that you have. I think it's more dependent probably on the snow conditions. So when you're first learning, it's good not to have too much deep snow that you're trying to struggle with.
Right.
If it can be on machine groomed powder, that's the best way to start, because then you have more ability to be balanced on your skis or your snowboard and do the thing you need to do to either manage your speed or to glide or change your direction.
So let's talk about the snow. We've got about a minute left. Let's talk about, I mean, how much snow is normally before you open? I mean, I know you're all raring to go and everyone's skiing and snowboarding now, but how much snow do you need in order to
yeah, we usually try to cover the hill in about 30 centimeters.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a couple of feet. So that's enough to make sure that you're not going over any debris or rocks or trees or things coming down.
Okay.
And that 30 centimeter base is a lot of snow that's been compacted. So it's probably about 4 or 5 feet of snow that we kind of compress to make sure that the base is good.
Wonderful. Well, don't you go anywhere. We're going to come back with some tricks and tips for snowboarders and skiers. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
I am lucky to meet so many amazing women, and I hope they feel lucky to meet me.
I'm ready.
He's a hunk, sweetie. Chef's kiss. He's insane. I was mesmerized.
I'm still just Joey.
He's so handsome.
The Bachelor, all new, Mondays 8, 7 Central on City TV.
Public transit.
garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Welcome back to Dufferin Life. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about fun winter sports that you can do. We're in February and we're loving the snow. I'm joking. I don't love the snow, but I do love hearing about the sports. And Terence, thanks so much for staying with me for the second half of the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're going to get into
lots of fun on the snow all the time.
Yes, absolutely. I shouldn't say that. I do love the snow. It's just my ankles and my knees don't allow me to do much. But if you're watching the first segment, I'm going to try snowshoeing. But so let's talk about some of the nitty gritty about getting into skiing or snowboarding.
Right.
Because there are people that are watching that may not have ever tried.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to talk about some of the basics. So let's start with skiing.
Yeah.
So if you've never gone downhill skiing before, where do you start?
I think it's a pretty accessible sport. Like if you've done any other sports, it's helpful. Like so if you can ice skate, if you can play hockey, if you can skateboard, anything where your body is in motion, I think really helps to go skiing. Mm-hmm. And then all the resorts, they're all set up where they have beginner areas where you first learn to walk, get used to the equipment, straight gliding, maybe a bit of controlling your speed, and then a little bit of turn change of direction.
Right.
I think it's very accessible with all the beginner areas that you can get to.
And I think most resorts have, private lessons or lessons that you can do, which I would highly recommend, because if you're somebody who hasn't skated or snowboard or skateboard or anything like that, you're starting from scratch.
I think so. I think when you're looking at teaching or learning, like myself as an instructor, I think you can really advance, like learn a lot quickly, because when you go, you're battling yourself, because maybe you might be nervous or you might be excited, but just trying to manage that energy, and there's people around you, and then you have the environment as well. So taking a lesson can remove a lot of those barriers. You can just focus on the task at hand, which is getting on the hill safely. We always look at, when you're teaching, the terrain, what makes it safe, and the fun factor, what's going to be fun, and that's going to be different for everybody. So for some people, it'll be just going straight down the hill,
right? And
for some people, to be the best turns, and then the ultimate goal for everybody is usually really good parallel skiing all the way down the hill.
And how young do people start skiing?
My daughter started at 2. I didn't start till much later. When I was telling you in the first segment, I started when I was 16. But yeah, 2 years old, you can start going. I used to we have a bit of a hill in the backyard, so I take them up and let them go down. And yeah.
Well, good for you, because I was like, a 2, really? But I guess, and then by the time they're 16, they're like going down, going out to BC.
More than 10 years of experience, exactly.
Snow in the big mountains.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when we're starting, obviously most resorts will have like rentals and that sort of thing. But let's talk about what people, how they should prepare. What do they need?
Yeah, I think one of the most common things I see when people come is that they're not prepared for their extremities.
Right.
So a good helmet is good. I would say goggles, if you can have them, that's good. And then a good pair of gloves or mitts. And then just a good jacket and a pair of pants. When you're first starting out, it actually is, it can be exhausting because you're moving quite a bit and you're learning.
Right.
And then your feet are not only this big, but all of a sudden they're like 1.5 meters long. So how do you navigate that? So there's a lot of kind of walking around getting used to that.
Yeah.
But if you have, like I said, a helmet, good set of gloves or mitts, and then just a jacket and pants, and that's good.
Okay, so let's say, for instance, I don't know, I was going to go out and buy myself a pair of skis before I tried.
Right.
How do I pick how long the skis are? Because obviously, when we start with downhill, how does it work for that?
Yeah, so for downhill skiing, it's based on your height and your weight and your ability. If you first started, like a good rule of thumb is somewhere around kind of chest level to start.
Okay.
So between your chest and your chin.
Okay.
As you get better, somewhere between your chin and your nose.
Okay.
And then as you get better, maybe up around between your nose and your eyes.
So as you become more advanced, you get longer skis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the longer skis will be, when you're first learning, they're longer, so they're harder to turn, so you want a shorter ski.
Okay.
But once you master turning, you want a longer ski so that you can go faster and glide faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Well, let's talk cross-country skis then. So because they're different from downhill.
Right. So those ones you are, depending on if you're in the more classic where you're in that track, just kind of going along like a train, or if you're skating, all the cross-country skis are generally just a bit shorter as well.
Okay.
So same kind of rule in terms of kind of from your chest to somewhere between your nose or your eyes.
So I have to ask, be it downhill or cross-country,
Yeah.
when you fall, is there a system to get up, or you just do it?
If you fall on the hill, depending on where you've fallen, the skis will pop off usually.
Okay.
So you have it on a lower tension setting. So if you fall, most falls are forward twisting.
Okay.
So the bindings will release. So you're literally just standing up.
Okay.
On the cross country track, they might still be attached, but you can just there's a button you can press.
I just remember,
it will
yeah.
release the toe, and then you can stand up as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think you see it in movies. You see these people struggling, and like I don't think it's reality. Of sometimes they show these people that are.
Yeah, you have lots of positive thinking. You're going to be on your feet. You're going to enjoy it. You're not going to fall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like with cross country skiing in the tracks, it makes it fairly smooth and
Right.
smooth sailing for the most part. Right?
And if you're in the track, the way they set it to, you will have some kind of gliding moments, but usually it's managed by the terrain.
Okay.
Right?
So let's talk about something that I think probably, I'm not going to say terrifies me, but it just gives me concern, is the lift. Like, is it difficult? Like, I see the people just stand there and it just looks like they sit back and they go up, and is it as easy as it looks?
It is as easy as it looks. So when you go there, like when we're teaching, you want to kind of look what it does. You want to load, you want to lower the bar, and then you want to leave the area when you get to the top. So
Right.
all those L's, not L for loser, L for winning,
Right.
and safely getting up there. And the staff are always excellent. So if you're with an instructor, they'll teach you how to use the lift, whether it's a surface lift like a magic carpet or whether it's a chair lift.
Okay.
And then the lift operations, the lifties we call them, they will also help you at the bottom and at the top as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, because I think it's not so much getting on the lift. I think
Yeah.
it's like, when do you get off? Like,
Right.
do people get off too early and then?
Not generally. I think
Or too late?
I think it's usually more too late.
Okay.
Because they get to the top, so as soon as your feet touch, you just have to stand up, and the areas are set that you can just go straight ahead.
Right.
I think the most common mistake I see is people they wait too long, they get up, and then they try to turn as soon as they get off the lift.
Right.
And it's really much more simple than that. Just stand up and go straight.
Go straight.
And then
Okay.
usually it flattens out in the area, and then you can kind of walk around
And
go the
kind of
direction
figure
you
out
want.
what it
Yeah,
is.
if we want to go left or right.
So, okay, so if we're not using the lift, what was the other one that you said?
The surface lift, so
Yeah.
there's a magic carpet.
Okay.
So the magic carpet is like in the mall, it's like a conveyor belt,
Oh, okay.
right? So you basically walk up and then you step on, it kind of pulls the tip of your ski, and you start to glide along, and then it just takes up. So you're literally just standing. It's perfect for you.
That's perfect for me. I'm not sure how I should take that, Terence.
No, it's again, it's
Yeah.
more simple. So I think when you're first there, you can get a little nervous and you overthink it.
Right.
But you basically just step on a conveyor belt and it takes you to the top. And the top, it's the same thing. It's a gentle slope. You just go straight, and then once you're off, then you can go left or
You
right.
kind of figure out
whatever
what
you
you're
want.
doing.
Yeah.
So, can people my age, can they start skiing at, I'm not going to say what my age is, but older?
At all ages, for sure.
Okay.
I think part of the Canadian dream with all the new Canadians coming is they want to experience skiing, right? And even just the first time in snow. And I think regardless of your background, it's, like I said before, it's a very accessible sport, and you can start at any age.
Right.
And obviously, if you want to take a lesson, that's going to help you. I think that's
Right.
the one sport where, versus other sports like riding a bike, a lot of people have had experience, but skiing and sliding, it's a little bit different.
It is
And
different,
the lesson
yeah.
will help for sure.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about having 2 sticks to glide to 1 board.
Right.
So snowboarding to me would be, I don't know, I think it stresses my brain just thinking about it, because at least with 2 skis, you've got control over both legs. So let's talk about beginners and snowboarding and where people start there.
Very similar. The one question I always get asked is, what's easier to start on, a snowboard or a ski? And I would say they're equally. Like, if you've never done it, you will progress in about the same in the same manner.
Okay.
Like you will, by the end of a day, especially if you've had a lesson, by the end of the day, you will be able to go to the top of the beginner hill and come down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of advancements in the snowboards as well. Before it just used to be straps, but a lot of the companies have step-on bindings, so you just
Okay.
step on. So there's no bending over or sitting in the snow trying to get everything done at the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So with a snowboard, you'd still go up the lift with the board on, or do you normally
You usually
carry
keep
it?
1 foot on.
Okay.
And then if you're on a chairlift, you just walk up, 1 foot's in, you sit down, you get to the top, and when you get to the top, your feet will touch the snow, you stand on the board and you glide down, and then after that you can get yourself attached to the board with your rear foot.
Are the concepts of stopping, turning the same as being on skis?
Yeah, so the equipment is very similar. So if you look at a ski or a snowboard, there's actually like a side cut in it. So
Okay.
it's not just straight up and down. And that side cut, when you put the board or the ski on edge, it actually allows you to create that turn. So
Okay.
the concept's the same. The difference is in skiing, you're more in a forward direction, and on a snowboard, you're standing sideways.
Okay.
So I know a lot of the younger kids that come, they've already skateboarded or they've done other different board sports like that. So it's very natural for them to stand sideways.
But not someone like me who's never done any of that,
Yeah.
right?
So you may want to try skiing at first, but like I said, if you come out on a good day, you will learn just as fast either on a board or on skis.
Okay. So basically wearing the same sort of things, dressing for the weather, that sort of thing when you're snowboarding?
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Have to have a helmet. I would say goggles are optional, sunglasses, something like that, depending on how sunny or what the weather's like. A good pair of mitts or gloves, especially on the snowboard for sure, because you probably will be kind of leaning and kind of learning, getting yourself up
Yeah.
off the ground, and then a good jacket and a good waterproof pair of pants.
Yeah. I have this vision of me on a snowboard and just, I don't know, rolling. And I just,
Yeah.
just because it's that whole, I don't know, like for me, the concept of having just 2 feet on one board and that
Yeah.
board controls both of your feet.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, it would cause.
Yeah, I think that causes some people a little bit of anxiety. But like I said, it's if you've done any other board sport or if you just kind of do the progression as you would like in a lesson, then it'll be good. But you did mention feet, and I didn't kind of touch on that, like the boot innovation. Like your biggest interface is your feet to the board or the ski.
Right.
So a nice one sock in your boot, and get the boot and get the help of the rental shop, or if you're going to purchase it, get the shell to fit your foot.
Okay.
So most of the times you're not going up a size, you're actually going down a size just to get your foot in the right spot.
Awesome. Well, Terence, thank you so much for joining me today and
You're
sharing
welcome.
all this valuable information and all the tips and trends.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for having me.
It was certainly my pleasure. And until next time, bye-bye for now.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.